it's just me, but as a friendly reminder, I want to remind you we're all about having rich conversations, enriching your relationships, and enriching your life. So today it's just me. My name is Deborah, and I'm happy you're here with us. I'll be sharing a little bit more about myself and my own personal story and journey. And Kevin is behind the camera supporting me and making sure everything runs smoothly. So I shared on my Instagram story, if that's how you found us, that September is National PCOS Awareness Month. What does that have to do with me, my story, and rich conversations? So, a little bit about myself. PCOS, by the way, stands for Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. And this is a little bit more personal, but I don't mind sharing because, again, this is all about having rich conversations, not only about relationships between me and my husband, but just your relationship as well. And just having rich conversations about ways that we can enrich our lives, right? So, anyway, so back to a few years ago, when we first got married, we had an agreement that within our first 5 years of marriage, we just want to be married. You know, we just want to understand what we just went into a commitment with. You know, how does this person live? How do I live? How do they save money? How do I spend money? How are we going to figure out our whole budget thing? So we're like, you know what? It's okay to not have kids within those first 5 years. We just really wanted to get to know each other. And so, in a little background to that, my menstrual monthly flow was never very consistent. High school to college, it was always very inconsistent. And I remember my physician at the time, I was in high school going into college, was like, don't worry about it. Worry about it when you're trying to have kids. Like, if it doesn't bother you, and honestly, it didn't bother me as a young woman, I was like, what? I don't have a period? Like, every month I don't have to go through that? Not a problem. This is actually very convenient. So, fast forward to me in my adult life in mid-20s, and so we had been married for 5 years, and then I started talking to Kevin again about, okay, we should start talking about, if we want to have kids. And I went to go see a specialist. I'm trying to really condense this version. I went to see a specialist because, again, I had been really inconsistent with my menstrual every month for many, many years, but I never took it seriously. My fault. And so after debriefing the physician on like all the details that I could remember, he was like, okay, we're going to be very thorough, and we're going to do blood screenings. We're going to check your hormone levels. We're going to do a sonogram of your ovaries and uterus, all this stuff. I was like, oh, okay, all right, great. Let's do it. And so we went in, did the blood screening, and the results took some weeks to come back. But what we did have most immediately, sorry, my eyes water. Most immediately was we did a sonogram, and he was able to show me on the screen what my ovaries look like. And so when you have PCOS, I learned your ovaries have your ovaries are polycystic. If I have a picture, I will show you guys. Your ovaries are polycystic. And so the way he was trying to tell me was, he's like, see, they should be like nice and smooth, like a balloon, right? And he's like, but they look like the moon. When you look at the moon and you can see all the little craters, that's how they look. And so I was like, okay, what does that really mean? And he was just saying, okay, that's why it's called polycystic. You have multiple little cysts. in your ovaries. I was like, okay. He's like, but nothing, not cancerous, right? Because everyone hates the C word, not cancerous. But he did say when we got back to his office, you know, typically women with PCOS, he's like, it's not that it's impossible for them to have kids. He was just saying, you're going to struggle with having kids. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was not expecting that. And it was just really heavy in the moment to receive all that information. I'm trying to process all the information. Okay, this is starting to make sense, you know, and as he shared more symptoms, I was like, okay, yep, that has happened. Yep, I definitely gained like 20 pounds in a very short amount of time. And it's not just happy weight from, you know, being newly married and going out to eat all the time. But I'm sure that played into it. But gaining, you know, all this extra weight, again, the continued missed periods, hair growth, because it's also a hormonal imbalance. So you get hair, unwanted, excessive hair along your chin line, your chest, other places that women don't want excessive hair. You get excessive hair there. So a little TMI, but that's just one of the symptoms. Also, you have hormonal acne along your jawline, which I have as well. So I'm just like, okay, yep, that makes sense. And so when he said it's just gonna be difficult for you to have children, I was just like, oh man, that's terrible. That's terrible news. God, like, that's just terrible news. And I didn't go with anyone. I didn't bring my husband. I didn't bring family. I took my lunch break to go to that appointment. So I went back to work, which is probably not the best thing to do. If you are going to get like heavy news like that, you want to go home and process, or call up your mom or a girlfriend, or, you know, your husband, to just talk to them about it. So I went back to work thinking that I was going to be okay, and I wasn't okay. So, but anyway, fast forward to where I am right now. It has been a journey. Like I said, this has been a journey, and I didn't know a lot of women actually do struggle with PCOS. And let me give you like a quick definition of it. So for my more so medical people, polycystic ovarian syndrome is a hormone imbalance that can cause irregular periods, unwanted hair growth, and acne. Like I said, PCOS begins during a girl's teen years and can be mild to severe. So it shows up differently in everybody's body. So the way it may show up in my body and my symptoms may be different from yours. Some of the most common signs of PCOS include irregular periods that came every few months, not at all, or too frequently. And mine would come like every 8 months, 6 months. It was wild. It still is wild. Extra hair on the face, other parts of the body, called hirsutism, acne, weight gain, or trouble losing weight. This one I'm not familiar with. Patches of dark skin on the back of the neck and other areas. So what causes PCOS? PCOS is caused by an imbalance in the hormones, chemical messengers from your brain and ovaries. PCOS usually happens when a hormone called LH from the pituitary gland or levels of insulin from the pancreas are too high, which then causes the ovaries to make extra amounts of testosterone. So, and there's like a lot of information, a lot of research. So me educating myself on what PCOS is and how it shows up in my body is really empowering. So I think it's really important once you find out, you get your blood results back, and you know, you go through different tests and you find out what it is that's causing like hormone imbalances, the irregular periods. To me, it's very empowering. Become your own advocate, I would say, because you have to find out what works for you. Like I said, PCOS shows up very differently in my body. It may show up differently in your body, or in your friend's body, or your wife's body, your girlfriend's body. So it looks a little different for everyone, but I think it's so important for people to have support, because you have to remember, we were newly married, and of course the question started to come, when are you going to have babies? When are you going to have babies? When are you going to have a kid? And I was like, I don't know. After, our 5-year plan is done, then we could talk about it. Before then, I didn't want to talk about it. But obviously, we've been married 8 years now, so it was starting to get really emotionally draining to have to come up with a response for people while I'm still trying to process all this information I received. So in that, I would either get really offended or really angry and just emotionally charged. And I just had to get to a place where I was like, okay, Deborah, some people mean really, really well and it's innocent. Some people are just nosy and they just really want to know what's going on with your ovaries and uterus, even though it has nothing to do with their life. But can't get too upset. You can't give people control over your emotions. So after having several rich conversations with myself and God, I was just like, it's cool. Some people really don't know. Some of you who probably know me really well, maybe this is your first time hearing me share about my PCOS story. And it's been interesting because as I talk to more people, as I share more, I find out other women have difficulty either getting pregnant or difficulty getting a monthly menstrual cycle. So I was just like, oh, wait a minute, why don't people talk about this? Why don't we have rich conversations about women's health more often? So this is me starting, instead of asking the question, this is me just starting and sharing. And if you're struggling with PCOS or something similar, I would say definitely educate yourself, become your own advocate, find out what works for your body. I'm still educating myself, still finding out what works for my body, and what will help me to get hormonally balanced once again. Also, very, very big, you need a support system. I am so grateful to some women in my life who are always praying for me, praying for my body to just be restored and healed. And also they hold me accountable and they ask me, what are you eating? How many times are you, exercising and just staying healthy, watching your stress levels. So I'm so grateful for those women. And you guys all know who you are. There's so many of you out there who are just really supportive and helpful and helping me to talk about this and have rich conversations. Because if it wasn't for that support, I think I would just be in a very different place with it and, not wanting to talk about it and just being sad and crying in a corner somewhere. And, if that's how you cope, that's how you cope. I can't judge you. But I really know that there's more to my story. There's more to my story with dealing with PCOS. I am someone who likes to stay health conscious because of the whole hormonal imbalance situation. But I just want to encourage you, if you're going through what I'm going through, you're not in this by yourself. There's someone also going through the same situation. And I really look forward to bringing someone else on here to share about their PCOS journey, so we can support each other and just know that, we can have rich conversations around our health, around faith, around our journey, and just support each other and know that you're not alone. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there and learning about my story. And like I said, I'm still on my PCOS journey. There's still so much more to come. So thank you for hanging out for this rich conversation. And